Hey everyone! So today we're going to dive a little bit further into the exploration of sacred sexuality. I'm going to talk about some things that you need to do to prepare yourself, some attributes and awarenesses that you need to have for a good partner, and then I'm going to talk about some basic techniques in order to begin this process into this intimate and spiritual journey. So if that sounds good to you, and for anybody who's never seen my face before, hi, I'm Elizabeth Blackwell from Blissful Home and Body, and I specialize in setting sacred spaces and helping you along your journey to your highest and greatest self. So if that all sounds good, let's get started. So previously I had discussed about what sacred sexuality was, understanding sexual energy as a creation energy, and then a little bit about what to do to kind of set your space up. Today I want to dive into how do we prepare ourselves for this practice. Some of the things that we need to be aware of when the attributes that we're looking for in a good partner for that open communication, and then some basic techniques when you're trying to begin this connection and dive a little bit further into this intimate practice. So let's start off with what we need to do to prepare ourselves, or things that you need to be aware of when heading into this practice. When beginning your journey, there are some things that you need to do to prepare yourself for this practice before you head into any sort of partner practice. And the two areas that I really want you to concentrate on is self-love and self-awareness. When it comes to self-love, one thing that I try to teach emphatically is that there is nothing external to you that is really going to complete you or make you happy. That you have to be good with who you are, understanding that this is a journey, but be happy with where you're coming from before you dive into connection in any way. And the best way to get to that self-loving place is through self-awareness and or self-reflection. That when heading into this journey, that you want to know where you are and what you're trying to create. Are you trying to bring about inner healing? Are you simply trying to deepen your connection with another individual? Are you trying to utilize this energy to manifest something or bring something closer into your life? And you need to be aware of what you're trying to utilize this energy for. But you also need to be aware of yourself. This is an intimate practice, and it requires vulnerability. So before you're going to be open and vulnerable with another individual, you need to first learn to be vulnerable with yourself and get in touch with that heart space in order to open yourself to where you are and what you're trying to create. Now, when you actually get into the practice, it does have to do with all of the energy centers of your body. But when you're concentrating on that self side of it, you really want to be in touch with that heart space, with who you are internally. Be aware of what is important to you, your boundaries, all of those things that I talk about in order to deepen that connection with yourself. And you want to be aware of those things before you head into this as a partner practice. So before I dive into the attributes that you will want to look for in a partner, I do want to reiterate the fact that sacred sexuality can be a solo practice. In fact, I highly recommend it, that you have that deep understanding and that being in touch with yourself again, no pun intended, before you head into a partner practice. But I do want to give a full separate video to that so that I can give it the proper time and attention that it needs. As far as the attributes that you will look for in a partner of this journey, you want it to be somebody that you can be open with. There needs to be that level of vulnerability there. And so not everybody sees it this way, but in my beliefs, please, please, please do not try to practice sacred sexuality with somebody you just met. It just doesn't lead to that openness and connection that really needs to be there in order to have this practice flow the way that you want it. And so some things that you would look for in a good partner. I like to say that there should be a level of friendship involved beforehand, whether this is a long-term partner or somebody that you just feel open and connected with in order to discover these things. But I will leave that up to you. Friendship generally leads to that familiarity, somebody that you can laugh with. And this is a practice that you want to be able to laugh and giggle and explore along the lines. But you want it to have a foundation of trust is absolutely necessary. In fact, I would say that that's the number one attribute that you need to look for in a partnership. You want there to be a non-judgmental environment. You want to be able, again, to have that freedom to discover and allow yourself to journey with this individual. And so kind of the last area that I would say, there needs to be a level of emotional intelligence. You need to be able to both give and receive and have that flow of energy. So when you're searching for a partner or you are trying to decide if that person that you are with will be a suitable partner, you just want to make sure that these things are available to you as you head into this practice. So I spent all this time explaining what sacred sexuality is and preparing you for it. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty, the fun stuff. I touched briefly in the last video upon setting up that environment, but I believe very deeply in setting sacred space, so I'm going to touch upon it here as well. Again, this is a sensual environment, so you want to be aware of things that are going to be affecting your senses. You want it to be warm, but not hot. You want to be able to be comfortable in the space based upon the level of clothing that you will or will not be wearing. You want the lighting to be low, but not pitch dark, because you still want to be able to see your partner and have those connection points. The scent of the space. You can use a diffuser if you have it. Again, I'm a big believer in candles because I make intention candles, but candles do serve two purposes. One, if you have a few going, they serve as that low light, but you can still see, and they also help to scent the space. So anything that you enjoy or have on hand will work perfectly fine. And then the last thing I talk about is what you can hear. You want to have something in the background. I usually recommend music of something that you enjoy. Generally, something a bit calmer or more sensual that you both enjoy. I don't really think of this as a space for heavy metal or hard rap, but you go with what you enjoy. But you want to have something in the background, but that it's at a low enough level that you can still speak and connect. Everything along those lines. So you just want to be aware of your space. And again, remove anything that is distracting or negative to you. You do not want to connect with something that is going to pull you away or pull you out of the energy that you've worked so hard to build. And then I'm going to say, be in a physical space where you are comfortable, where your body has been prepared in a way that you can feel open and comfortable. I will leave that part generally up to you to decide. Now, when it comes to techniques or actually getting into the practice, anything that will build that connection and intimacy at the beginning is generally where you want to head. So I am a very big believer in sensual touch or sensual massage as a way to break those barriers and have you connect with one another without heading directly into a sexual practice, but things that are intimate and connecting. I'm a big believer in eye contact, in eye gazing. They say that the eyes are the windows to the soul, and I do believe that. But you want to be able to look deeply in somebody's eyes and connect with them in that way. That's why you don't want it to be pitch dark. And then you want to move slowly into this practice. I'm going to get a bit energetic here. I had mentioned earlier that when you start to get into this practice, that it works with all of the energy centers of the body. So the chakras, which are the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown chakra. So you generally want to be in touch with each of those energy centers, working from the ground up. Our root chakra is the most earthly. It keeps us grounded and in touch, so we want to be in our bodies. This is a practice of the body, the mind, and the spirit. We're bringing all three of these together. And as you work your way through these energy centers, that's generally what you're going to do. You're going to bring all of those together in a holistic practice. So when it comes to getting in touch with the root chakra, that is very good for breath. If you can synchronize your breathing, even better. But you're wanting to get into your body. Be in that feeling space, that physical feeling space. The sacral chakra is the center of sexual energy as well as creation. So then you're just going to kind of move your way up. That is where you're getting into that more sexual place. I'm going to just say that more turned on place. Then you're going to move into the solar plexus, which is energy, empowerment, gives us that drive. Then we're going to move into the heart chakra. And when working with sacred sexuality, if you can do hand to chest for each of you for that heart-to-heart connection, then it brings that energy together and gives you a connection point. Then you get into the throat chakra. This is where you're going to use your words. You're going to speak those things, either the areas to which you're looking to explore, or telling somebody what is working well for you, or something you're steering clear of. You're being open. You're letting those words connect you. And you're being open to both giving as well as receiving what they're telling you. Then as we kind of head up, we get into that third eye. This is that where you're getting in touch with that intuition. So let your physicality move in an intuitive way. and guide each other through, whether that is through touch or other connections, but you're going to move in a more intuitive way. And then as you are moving through this practice, as you get to that crown chakra, that is really where you're getting into that seed of manifestation. It's what we are putting out into the world. This is where we tend to get closer to that climax point, that you are allowing that energy to connect with what you're trying to create and putting that out into the universe. So I don't want to go too detailed here because this is kind of beginner's practice, and I want you to move intuitively through it. But you want to be, in general, connected and feel that flow of energy. Again, it is a giving and a receiving. You want to be in touch with that masculine, that giving, as well as that feminine, which is the receiving, that more intuitive, the nurturing side of things. And as we wrap this up, I actually want to go a little bit deeper into that nurturing point. When you are in physical union, that has more of a masculine-dominated energy. It is a more carnal side of things. But as you go through and you are wrapping up the practice, you then, I am a very big believer in what I like to call aftercare, or that after point connection. That, but this tends to be a more feminine energy, whether that is again through touch, massage, things along those lines, but it is a connection point after you have completed your practice to where you nurture each other. This is a great point in time if communication is open, that you talk openly about how you felt through the practice, or things that you discovered. And then you also want to make those mental notes to yourself of where did you feel pulled to or repelled from. And so that is that more internal journey of knowing, as you delve further into this journey, where you want to head towards or steer clear of. Know where those blockages are and where you want to head through. So this is still those very beginner tips and understanding of sacred sexuality, but hopefully that gives you a deeper understanding of how to begin this practice. So if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you would hit the like button or even potentially subscribe, as it really does help out small channels like this. And if you have any questions, things like that, please don't hesitate to reach out in any way. But if that served you well, I hope you all stay well, my friends.